Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
The governing party has its eye on an FNM stronghold. Good evening, I'm Oprah Rhodes sitting in for Keishla Adley, and this is the Bahamas Tonight. As the by-election fever heats up, the Progressive Liberal Party is hoping to pull the North Abaco constituency in its column. It's been an FNM stronghold for years, but the PLP leader and Prime Minister is confident that his party has what it takes to pull off a win. Today, he discussed the issue with our Shanique Miller.
With Mr. Ingram scheduled to deliver his farewell speech in Parliament on Wednesday, it's expected that both parties will go hard after North Abaco. The FNM wanting to retain what's been in their camp for 8 consecutive terms, and the governing PLP looking to widen their margin by securing North Abaco.
We're going to try to say to the people of Abaco who are in the North Abaco constituency that it is best for them to have our man elected. I think I know who our candidate will be, but we have formal meetings of the candidates committee later this week and a press conference when we will announce our candidate for the by-election that is scheduled upon Mr. Ingram retiring.
But who will lead the party's charge? It's presumed that hopeful Renato Curry is the front runner, but Prime Minister Christie says it's not that cut and dry.
I would have thought Mr. Curry is going to be our candidate, so we could cut to the quick on that. But it's a process that we have to go through, and I'm not sure whether anyone else has applied. But it would seem to me that he would have a very distinct advantage over any other candidate.
Late last week, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram addressed the media. He slammed the government on a number of issues, candid in his attack on the Christie administration and its first 2.5 months in office. Mr. Christie says it's unfortunate to see Mr. Ingram leaving frontline politics on such a note.
Whenever someone who has been in politics for as long as Mr. Ingram has been in politics takes that kind of adversarial point on a commissioner of police, I think it's regrettable, most regrettable, and I would have thought he would have chosen another way to exit public life, that he would have taken the high road and he would have seen the importance of leaving politics on a high note as opposed to a negative note. But of course, it is his choice. With respect to his criticism of the government, I'm, very much aware of one fact, that I'm the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, I'm the leader of the government, and people will judge me not on what he says, but on what I do and what my government does.
Now, Mr. Ingram's resignation becomes effective August 31st, giving a 60-day window for the by-elections to be held. But Mr. Christie did not give a date on when the by-elections will be.
When someone sets a date that is in the future, you wait until that happens. And because politics is so dynamic, things and events change, and we'll see in Parliament tomorrow another step in Mr. Ingram's political life will be taken, and we'll see whether or not he speaks in Parliament to his retirement, and then we would, in consequence of that, make the decisions about the by-election.
Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Well, the Free National Movement has named its candidate to run in the North Abaco by-election. He's a young man who says he's ready to serve. Cyan Thompson was at the FNM headquarters last evening for the announcement.
It is a privilege and an honor to receive the nomination for North Abaco.
And with that, 39-year-old Greg Gomez, former educator and religious minister, made his first public speech after being ratified by the Free National Movement's Council. While the council has been vetting potential candidates since last week, it was Monday the party had a day-long meeting, and from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. they voted. Party leader Dr. Minnis says Gomez was chosen democratically by the FNM.
We would have gone through the complete process. And Mr. Gomez meet all the requirements. All the other candidates would have gone through the process also, the democratic process, and he came out victorious.
The native of Murphytown, who is now running in the seat the former Prime Minister won for 8 consecutive terms, told party members that he is determined to keep the North Abaco seat in the FNMs fold. Gomez also plans to continue on with the vision of Mr. Ingram.
I pledge to you tonight that I will do my best and we will work aggressively to bring victory to the FNM in North Abaco. I plan to continue to build on the legacy that Mr. Ingram, the former Prime Minister, has begun. The legacy is not over. It will continue.
In the general elections, Mr. Ingram won the North Abaco seat by almost 400 votes. Party leader Dr. Minnis said campaigning by the FNM in North Abaco did not stop and that the win this time around will be bigger.
But since we're not fighting 40, we're going to use our energy level and multiply it by 40. And therefore we'll be energized and galvanized in that one part of the seat.
Dr. Minnis arrived in Abaco Tuesday along with other members of the Free National Movement who will be stationed in North Abaco to further campaign leading up to the by-election. Cyan Thompson, ZNS News.
Well, the Parliamentary Registration Department is making preparations for the upcoming by-election. Farron Carey talked to the Parliamentary Commissioner today. Here's that story.
Come August 31st, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, the Member of Parliament for North Abaco, will officially vacate his seat, paving the way for a by-election in that constituency. 39-year-old Abaconian and former educator Greg Gomez will carry the FNM's banner in what is expected to be a hotly contested election. According to Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel, some 4,000 people are eligible to vote.
At the moment, we have 4,436 persons registered on the North Abaco register. And all persons whose names are on the register, when the writ of election is issued, all such persons will be able to vote.
Meantime, Bethel noted that a small number of people from Abaco have also registered within the past few weeks. Now, although a date has not been set, Bethel noted that once a writ of election is issued, the by-election should take place within 21 to 26 days.
There has to be declaration of a vacancy. And that information has to be communicated by the Speaker to the Governor General. And then at some point in time after that, the executive branch will advise the Governor General to issue a writ. A writ will be issued. And once the writ is issued, the writ will give details regarding nomination day, and the date of the election.
Meantime, preparations are underway to ensure the process runs smoothly.
Once the writ is issued, we have to make sure that a returning officer is appointed. We have to make sure that he gets the writ from the Governor General, that a notice is published giving the date for nomination and also the date for the election if necessary. And we have to make sure that there is staff in place to do the election in terms of presiding officers and polling clerks. And then we have to appoint polling places also, so that everything is in order. And apart from that, we have to make sure that we have ballots prepared after we would have had nominations.
Farron Carey, ZNS News.
Now, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram made claims of victimization at the hands of the governing party, saying hospital administrator Coralie Adderley was fired by Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez. Today, Prime Minister Christie said Ingram is in no position to criticize, saying the health minister determined that the institution needed to move in another direction.
I took the position on many police officers that Mr. Ingram caused to leave office, that it was a wicked decision that he took. But that's what it is. With respect to Coralie Adderley, the Minister of Health took the position that he wanted new leadership in the hospital. It's a point that he and others have said to me who've held that position. It is what it is. It has been done, and we will move on.
Now, Mr. Christie also took issue with Mr. Ingram's criticism of Urban Renewal 2.0. Mr. Ingram said government was breaking the law by tearing down several homes which were occupied. But Mr. Christie says the operators of Urban Renewal make calculated decisions.
I think he has always been uninformed, really, truly uninformed about what urban renewal is actually all about. He purports to represent an era when he had the responsibility for housing, but I don't think Mr. Ingram truly understands the significance of the urban renewal effort. And let me just tell you what it is. Urban renewal is where we are going into communities and literally with the mandate to go to every house and discover in every house what the challenges are. Then to take the information we have found and inform the relevant agencies of the government so that the government's policies can be relevant to what exists in the community. That is the basis of it. Now, the genesis in the way we are doing it has to do with the police driving it. So as the police leads this campaign, people are seeing the police take actions on their behalf to remove all of the nuisances from their area, the bad things in their area, cut down the debris, the bush, the garbage, all of those things they see the police doing. They're warming up to the police being in their community, and they are sharing information with the police.
And coming up, find out what these workers are protesting about. Stay with us.